Okay, let's try to unpack this. We're diving deep into a bunch of sources here that lay out something, well, pretty ambitious.
Yeah, it's fundamental rethink of healthcare delivery.
Mm.
They're calling it health engineering systems. EAD for short.
E.g. Right, and these documents, they paint a picture of something very different from what we have now, like preventative,
Yeah.
restorative.
Exactly. And self-improving. That's a key part. It's designed, according to them, to tackle this, global healthcare crisis and even productivity issues.
So our mission here for this deep dive is really to pull out the crucial bits from these documents, the philosophy, the actual programs, the tech behind it.
Yeah, give you the important nuggets. We want to give you a clear snapshot of what this next generation health platform is supposed to be.
Think of it as a shortcut for you to get a handle on this complex system they're proposing. It seems to be about bridging science and medicine.
And, crucially, showing you why focusing on wellness, as they argue, might actually be a really powerful economic strategy too, not just about feeling good.
Okay, so let's start there. The core concept. What is health engineering systems really based on these sources?
At its heart, HEG is presented as a global health systems integrator and also a risk management company.
Risk management. Interesting. And they set it up against the current system.
Right away, yeah. They call the current approach the standard way, and they're pretty critical of it.
How so? What's their take on the standard way?
They basically label it a sickness-driven model. You wait until someone's sick, then you react. And they argue this leads to, well, runaway costs and not great results, especially for chronic stuff.
So HE flips that instead of reacting.
They propose being proactive, build health, prevent sickness.
And this is tied to that zero trends idea
Yeah.
from D. Eddington.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Zero trends health as an economic strategy. It draws heavily on Eddington's work at Michigan. The idea is simple, really. Investing in wellness up front saves you a ton of money compared to treating illness down the line.
Makes sense.
The goal is literally to flatten and then lower healthcare costs by managing health risks before they become big problems.
Like fixing a small leak before the pipe bursts.
Yeah.
And the medical philosophy they use for this proactive approach is functional medicine.
Yeah, that's foundational for HEG. They describe it as an evolution, not necessarily alternative, but an evolution of medicine.
How so?
It's about looking at the whole person. How do your genes, your environment, your lifestyle, how do they all interact instead of just focusing on one symptom in isolation?
Getting to the root cause, essentially.
Yeah, it's the idea. Identifying and addressing the underlying imbalances.
Okay, so we have functional medicine as the base, zero trends as the economic rationale. How does the HEG system itself work? How's it structured?
Well, the sources say it's designed to be a self-improving system, constantly researching,
Okay.
finding innovative science-based health tech and protocols from all over the world, and then integrating them into turnkey wellness platforms.
Turnkey. So, like, ready-to-use packages.
Sort of, yeah. And they offer these both virtually telemedicine and in actual physical wellness centers.
And the self-improving part, how does that happen?
That's key. Continuous performance tracking. And, importantly, a pay-for-performance model.
Ah, okay, so
Yeah.
they measure outcomes.
Constantly. Documenting what works, what doesn't. Is this protocol effective? Is this technology helping? That data feeds right back into the system to refine things. It's like an ongoing optimization loop.
Interesting. Less static service, more dynamic process. So what kinds of programs use this model? They mentioned different types.
Yeah, four main ones outlined in the sources. First, there are the Global Virtual Health Performance Centers. That's the telemedicine arm. They also call it the HEG Natural Pharmacy sometimes.
Got it. Virtual, what about brick and mortar?
Two types there. Health Performance Centers aimed at the sort of mid-income market,
Okay.
and then Premier Wellness Centers, which are more high-end, tailored for the executive market, that kind of thing.
Virtual, mid-tier, high-end. What's the fourth?
The fourth is HA Consulting. This is more of an umbrella for a bunch of specialized groups.
Like?
Things like their research group, environmental initiatives, medical tourism, hospital partnerships, humanitarian work, the medical fitness side, tech, IT, nutraceuticals. It's diverse.
Wow, okay.
But the overall goal as a risk health management company is always about maximizing the ROI on wellness,
Right.
preventing healthcare costs, and actually improving people's health and performance.
Return on wellness, that really hits that economic point again. But this all relies heavily on tech, right? The sources mentioned some pretty advanced stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Central to it. They talk about a next generational cloud platform. They call it a cognitive business system.
Cognitive sounds like more than just storage.
It is. The idea, based on their own design concepts apparently, is a global knowledge base that doesn't just store data, but can organize it and understand it. Real-world health data, tons of it.
Understand it.
It's designed for basically infinite growth, infinite data types. And they claim it allows for really short implementation cycles. So adding new features, new data elements happens fast. It's meant to be smart, adaptable.
And there's a specific partner mentioned for the clinical side, CCC.
Yes, the Clinical Collaboration Cloud provider. This CCC platform is interesting. It's not another big electronic health record system, an EHR.
Okay, so what does it do then?
It's described as a service. It lets anyone working with clinical info, doctors, researchers, associations, maybe even assemble data from any source, any format, and then organize it, interpret it, share it, exchange it.
Like a universal translator for health data?
Kind of, yeah. And privacy is a huge piece.
Yeah.
The sources say it's built with strong security, mentioning patents that go beyond IPA.
Beyond IPA, how does that work? Where does the data live?
That's the crucial point. The data owner, the clinic, the hospital, maybe the individual keeps control. The data stays on their servers or their cloud account.
Yeah.
The CCC is the secure layer that lets them collaborate and share, but it's not a central data repository itself.
Ah, I see. So collaboration without everyone dumping data into one giant pot.
Exactly. The benefits they claim are things like having complete information when needed, leading to better outcomes, lower risk. It helps different systems talk to each other securely.
And the performance tracking we mentioned, how does that fit into this tech infrastructure?
It's built right in. They use their own proprietary EMR electronic medical records tracking database. But, importantly, they also stress using independent third-party verification.
So not just marking their own homework.
Right. External validation. They capture performance data from all sorts of angles. They use scorecards.
Literal scorecards.
Seems like it. Tracking the patient's progress, sure. But also the condition, the doctor involved, even the cost-effectiveness of the treatments.
Wow.
And all that detailed data. That's what feeds back into HEG's research. That's the engine for the self-improving part.
That feedback loop really seems central to the engineering in health engineering systems. Okay, let's look at some of those specific divisions under the consulting arm. The research group.
So the HEG Research Group, their job is to actively seek out institutions willing to share data, patient histories, case studies, medical records, anonymized, presumably.
Could build that massive data platform.
Exactly. Use it for data mining, looking for solutions. They handle the integration complexities using their platform and focus on what they call diminishing risk wellness research. Basically, targeting specific conditions, finding ways to reduce the risk.
And they mentioned building communities, too.
Yeah, global core health communities. These are envisioned as networks for doctors, clinics, even individuals. A place to support each other, learn, access education. They even mention a phrase, no one is as smart as all of us. Very collaborative.
And education seems big for their global health initiative.
Huge. HE Global Health aims to provide online education, social media, all on that single cloud platform for everyone involved in healthcare.
Everyone.
Pretty much. They talk about developing thousands of courses, certifications, CMEs, aiming to be a global leader in health training using online video and media.
That's a massive goal. What about the HEG natural pharmacy? You mentioned telemedicine.
Right. That focuses specifically on the virtual side. Regular wellness checkups, customized plans delivered via telemedicine. A key feature they highlight is global lab test standardization.
Standardizing labs everywhere. How?
Through a strategic partner, Metametrix. The goal is to allow consistent, trackable lab data across, they say, potentially up to 25 countries. That's big for reliable data.
Definitely. Okay, shifting gears a bit, the environmental group, how does that connect?
They directly link health to the environment, focus on green energy, better environmental infrastructure, helping companies build greener cultures.
And they had that project, Life Village.
Yeah, the Life Village project. It's a concept for these modular, self-contained buildings. They provide shelter, clean energy, water, communication, even farming capabilities.
And how would HEG use those?
The sources suggest they could be used for things like modular health clinics, particularly in remote or underserved regions.
Which ties into medical tourism and humanitarian efforts.
Seems like it. The medical tourism part aims to use early screening to spot conditions needing hospital care. They mention a partnership in India, integrating their platform with hospitals there that have US-UK trained doctors.
For lower cost procedures.
That's the idea, citing things like heart surgery at maybe 10% of the US cost. But crucially, tracking the outcomes for ROI.
Identifying needs, finding cost-effective solutions, tracking results.
That's the model described. And the humanitarian group plans global telemedicine, potentially using those life villages, starting in India. They also mentioned partnering with a charity known for unusual programs, like providing fully paid life insurance policies.
Interesting mix, from high-end wellness to humanitarian aid and the medical fitness group.
That centers on medical fitness, a concept they credit to co-founder Paul Grimkowski, former president of Gold's Gym.
Okay.
They plan to license this platform globally to fitness centers, developing personalized workout programs based on, like, your DNA, your metabolism.
Very personalized fitness. Okay, so we've got the big picture. Let's make it concrete. How would this work for an actual person? The sources detail a program for cardiometabolic syndrome, CMS.
Right, this is a good example of the integrated approach. CMS isn't just one thing, it's a cluster of conditions.
Like what specifically?
Obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes risk, protein in the urine, blood vessel issues, inflammation, clotting problems, high uric acid, even mood stuff.
Wow, a lot.
And the key thing is they worsen each other. It significantly ups the risk for heart attacks, strokes, really serious events.
So HEG doesn't just treat the blood pressure, then the cholesterol.
No, that's the point. It's
Yeah.
integrated. Address the whole person, the connections between these issues, find solutions that help multiple problems at once.
Okay, so walk us through it. Someone might have CMS risk. How does the program start?
Starts with screening, online forms, questionnaires about metabolisms, some initial lab tests. If those labs look off, the person enrolls as a member.
And then?
They get assigned a personal health coach, a PHC.
Okay, a coach.
This PHC connects them with an HEG doctor and is their main guide. Discusses lifestyle changes, the online tools, supplements, all that.
Your point person.
Exactly. Then there's an initial consultation with the doctor, a physical exam. They review everything, set goals, and establish baseline scores on that performance health scorecard.
Setting the starting line. What happens over the next few months?
It's typically a 3-month program, the CMHRP. Involves weekly online meetings with your PHC.
Weekly. Okay.
Plus, you track things at home, glucose, maybe HbA1c, and log your diet and exercise daily online. There's also group support, online tutorials. It's pretty hands-on.
Sounds intensive. What happens after the first month or so?
Around month 2, you do follow-up labs, then another visit with a doctor, review progress using the scorecards, see what's working, adjust the plan. They also mention a 2-day intensive session somewhere in there.
And then month 3, how does it wrap up?
Month 3 is continue tracking. There's a longer meeting with a PHC to kind of prepare you for less intensive support. Then final labs and one last doctor consultation.
To see the final results?
Yeah. Determine the final functional health score. Discuss what's next. Maybe repeat the program. Maybe continue with the PHC less frequently. Stay on supplements. Schedule future checkups. Or, if you did really well, maybe even become a mentor yourself.
A structured, coached, data-tracked journey to tackle those interconnected issues. Okay, but this whole system needs doctors, coaches. How do they get existing practitioners on board with this, well, different way of doing things?
That's a big question. And they seem to acknowledge it's a shift. They propose a 3-layered approach for healthcare professionals to affiliate with incentives built in.
3 layers. Okay, level 1, what's up?
Level 1 is the basic entry. Practitioners can join HEG's research like that CMS study. They follow standardized protocols, submit data online. The key thing here, no functional medicine training required initially.
Ah, so they can dip their toe in, contribute data.
Exactly. Participate in the research side first.
Okay, level 2.
Level 2 is becoming a licensed HEG wellness professional. Now, this level usually does require completing functional medicine training. They mention the AFMCP course specifically.
And what do level 2 practitioners do?
They're the ones delivering the performance-based wellness solutions using the HEG platform and scorecards. The sources suggest this offers a different practice model, potentially more financially secure, maybe more time with clients.
And HEG helps them get that training. There is something about IFM.
Yeah, an alliance with the Institute of Functional Medicine. HEG helps fund the education and certification costs, potentially paid back from the practitioner's earnings through HEG contracts, trying to lower the barrier to getting trained.
Makes sense. Facilitate the transition. And level 3?
Level 3 is for practitioners who complete the IFM educational requirements. Board certification itself is mentioned as optional for level 3 practice, though. At this level, they can become mentors to other practitioners coming into the HEG system.
So a pathway. Research participant, license provider, mentor. Are there other roles besides these licensed practitioners?
Yes, they define specific certifications for coaching roles. Drawing an analogy to the Barefoot Doctors of China, different levels of expertise for different needs.
Like the first points of contact.
Right. There's the Healthline Coach, HLC,
Yeah.
author of the first interaction, does initial inquiries, scores questionnaires, gives basic info, makes referrals.
The entry point guide. And then the personal health coach, the PHC from the CMS program.
The PHC has more training, builds that relationship, guides people through programs, discusses lifestyle, support systems.
Okay. And the doctors involved. HAG online doctors, OLDs.
Right. The OLDs do initial consults, recommend HE protocols. But, and this is a really important distinction they make, their role is to set up a health foundation program.
Not disease treatment.
Explicitly not.
Yeah.
They refer clients back to their regular doctor for diagnosis or disease management. The OLDs focus purely on the HEG wellness protocols, not treating disease within that context.
Crucial difference. Wellness focus, not primary care replacement.
Exactly. And all these people, coaches, practitioners, they have tech tools to help them. Advanced decision support technologies.
Like what? Scans and tests.
Yeah, examples given are Zyto, EVOCX, EIS Bioscan, Cavitat, regulation tomography, bioenergy testing, and Verilight technology for non-invasive CMS risk screening.
The goal being objective data.
Yes. Get accurate info, objectively study how well the protocols are working.
And labs are integrated too.
Members get directed to online labs. Results go straight into the HEG databases and EHRs. Seamless data flow.
So it connects the initial contact, the coaching, the doctor oversight, the tech assessments, the labs, all feeding into that data system.
That seems to be the design, a fully integrated loop.
Okay, let's pull back to the big picture again. The business strategy. Why do they think the market is ready for HAD now?
Well, they point to pretty widespread unhappiness with the current system, right? Costs are out of control, chronic disease is rising. They argue people are looking for something better, something credible and preventative that actually shows results. They see a vacuum.
And what makes HEG think they can fill it? What are their claimed advantages?
They list a few key ones. Being a global health systems integrator first to market with this kind of integrated turnkey wellness platform.
Okay.
Their sophisticated risk management, the tracking, data mining, actuarial analysis, having that next-gen EHR built in, and using partnerships and licensing like the medical fitness model to scale up.
How do they plan to manage the risks they face as a business?
Good question. They mentioned things like having revenue from multiple different entities, trying to time the market right, partnering with top tech companies to handle data complexity, and also targeting organizations already leaning towards wellness to find early adopters, less resistance to change there.
Makes sense. And that Trendline Health Alliance seems key for bigger clients.
Yeah, that's highlighted for the corporate and government sector. Trendline Health has this proprietary 3-year program, 15 years proven, they say, to help organizations manage healthcare costs.
How does it work, basically?
It quantifies the organization's maximum healthcare cost risk, then converts that unpredictable cost into a known fixed cost over 3 years. They can use capital markets to pre-fund expenses, maybe even build reserves.
Predictable healthcare spending for big players.
That's the goal. Benefits both self-funded groups, cash flow, investment income, and fully insured ones, negotiated premium discounts. They note it has a AAA Moody's rating, which adds financial credibility.
And the link to HEG.
Trendline refers its clients, these big organizations wanting cost control, directly to HEG's corporate wellness programs. It's a strategic pipeline for large-scale customers.
A potentially powerful connection there.
Seems designed that way, yes.
Okay. So we've really dug into health engineering systems based on these sources. We've covered the philosophy, health engineering, functional medicine, the integrated platform, the different programs, the tech, like that clinical collaboration cloud, focusing on privacy and data integration.
Right. And specific examples like the cardiometabolic program, how they plan to bring doctors and coaches into this new model. And the business strategy, aiming at costs through things like the Trendline Alliance.
It's a comprehensive vision, definitely. A real attempt, as described here, to shift from reacting to sickness towards proactively engineering health, using data, tech, integrated networks, all aiming for better outcomes and lower costs.
The core idea seems to be empowering individuals with their own health data, giving practitioners tools and protocols, and offering companies, governments, a new way to tackle healthcare spending by investing in wellness with a measurable return.
A different paradigm, like you said.
Exactly.
So here's the thought to leave you with. Given everything we've discussed, this potential for an integrated, data-heavy approach to health, one that doesn't just treat illness but actively tracks, measures, and tries to engineer well-being. What really stands out to you about how something like this could fundamentally change your own relationship with your health and maybe the future of health systems overall?